Kamchatka from ETours Russia, and tell me, what is the heavily populated, the largest city in Russia? Of course, the iconic city of Moscow. Overlooking the skylines while traveling in Moscow, these skyscrapers makes this city look very modern and fancy, and also they contrast to the domes of ancient medieval churches and monasteries. And now we are going to the 56th floor. It's going to be very fast, and see you up there. Opened recently on the 56th floor of the Imperial Tower. The museum, or Moscowcity Museum, has very unusual exhibits. These are the skyscrapers themselves in the panoramic windows. Let's have a look at all of them. One of the towers within the complex is known as Imperial Tower, and it's a multifunctional skyscraper with 139 kilometers of tubes and pipes, imagine. And it has a lot of offices, some apartments, and also the Moscow City Museum is located on the 56th floor of this particular tower. We're there. In the museum, you may find a map of Moscow, how it looked like 150 years ago. And at that time, of course, we didn't have any skyscrapers or high-rising buildings. The tallest one was constructed in 20th century, and it had 40 levels. That was the living apartment building. 150 years ago, we had different bell towers and cathedrals. Cathedral, which was constructed from the order of Ivan the Terrible, the Cathedral of St. Basil's, used to be the tallest one until the construction of the Ivan the Great Bell Tower, which is located in the Kremlin. Both of them you can see right now still. The project of construction of skyscrapers of Moscow City was confirmed to be started in 1991, and the construction is still going on. There are 20 towers operating. One of them used to be the tallest in Europe until the construction of Lahta Center in St. Petersburg. So the height of Federation Tower in Moscow City is 374 meters. Some of them are with offices, some of them are with different restaurants and nice places. Also, they have wonderful apartments for rent and for buying. Definitely the name of this tower comes from the color of the glassy plates on the surface of the tower. Mercury Tower is just behind me, and it's quite unusual. It is the brightest, and you won't miss it while you're driving or standing somewhere in Moscow City complex. So it has offices, it has apartments, and the most luxurious apartment within the complex is located on the top floor of this tower. When you come here, and if you look carefully on this tower, you will find out a little white triangle, which is actually marks the location of terrace of this particular private apartment. Sometimes the owner comes out and enjoys the view of Moscow. Behind the curtains, in the middle of exposition, there is the model or the copy of Architekton, which was made by Russian Soviet master Kazimir Malevich. They say in the 20th century, Malevich kind of predicted that everyone in the future would live in the high-rising buildings and would work in these skyscrapers. He also predicted the development of the architectural thought around the world. Along with the main exhibits of this museum, the skyscrapers, you may enjoy the beautiful panoramic view on Moscow. And you can count other skyscrapers, the skyscrapers of the 20th century, which were the Seven Sisters of Moscow. 3 of them are represented, and you can see them here. Like Paris and Rome, Moscow was constructed in the circular layout. And you can count 4 circles while you are in Moscow watching the map. The first one looks like a horseshoe and it's known as Бульварное кольцо or the Boulevard Ring. The second one, if you count from the city center, is known as the Garden Ring. The third is simply called the Third. And the fourth is Moscow Circular Autostrade. It's the last one and it marks the borders of the modern city. Here we have a collection of 3 different maps made by the local artist, and he wanted to represent Moscow through different parts of the poems which are related to different districts of Moscow. So one of them is here with the quotes from poems. And then the second one here represents just the streets, the names of the streets of Moscow city center up to the Garden Ring. And the third one is quite funny because the streets and districts are given with different names, or actually they include nicknames given by Muscovites, and they are quite funny. So for example, the place where I live is here, and it's known as Slavbul. In Moscow City Museum, there is a moving screen which displays the projects which were never realized. These are so-called architectural utopias. One of the most famous was the construction of the House of the Soviets, when the Cathedral of Christ the Savior in the year 1931 was destroyed. Instead of the construction of the House of the Soviets with the monument to Lenin on the top, it was transferred into an open-air swimming pool in 1960s, which existed up to the 1990s. While overlooking the skyscrapers in the panoramic windows, you can also entertain yourself with a flight above the most important landmarks of Moscow. Just try on the VR glasses, boom, and you are soaring above the Moscow River, soaring above the Vorobyov Hills or Gorky Park, and this is quite also entertaining. But if you're afraid of heights, it's better to sit down before trying on the VR glasses.